Hello guys, welcome to the next session of new evolving world of Dynamics CRM. Today I'm going to talk about a platform enhancement which came in Dynamics CRM 2013. It's called PackageDeployer. Using PackageDeployer, deployment of Dynamics CRM solutions has become very simple, very pragmatic, and very I will say a consolidated way of doing. So we will go and talk about that. We will see what it takes to do this kind of deployment, and we'll also see a demo around it. But before I go in those kind of details, I want to discuss some prerequisite for this session. So of course audience should have understanding of Dynamics CRM 2011 from or any of the above version from the navigation as well as configuration point of view. You should be comfortable, or you should have understanding of how data are imported inside CRM solution, or how solutions are imported or exported to move your dynamic CRM solution across environments. If you know these two fundamentals, then yeah, you're good to go, and you can easily understand what we discussed today. If not, I suggest you go and search on internet and find many of very good articles about these things, and read that and then come back. So let's move ahead. So what are the typical CRM deployment activities? Again, I'm talking about typical activities, not a comprehensive list of activity, because each CRM solution is different, and depending on what's your ecosystem around your CRM solution, what are integrations you are doing, what are different kind of features you have, each deployment could be each deployment is different from each other. But there are some typical things which happen across most of the solutions, and they are primarily you import one or more solutions, which creates the base feature set for your dynamic CRM solution. Then you generally also import the configuration data. Configuration data has some other names as well. You can call it as a master data or kind of seed data. So things like, for instance, list of countries, list of states, list of list of counties, or some kind of custom entity where you have some kind of key value configuration information which you use for different point of times across solutions. So many of these things, master C data, you want to move that. Many times you want to import data from other sources. You get data in terms of say CSV files and or XML files, and then you want to import it. Things like your contact or customer information are imported. So that's another thing you do. Then outside CRM, dynamic CRM, if you are dealing with any kind of custom solution outside, sometimes you create custom databases, and then you create stored procedures, tables, and other programming objects into it. Then many times you go and deploy websites or web services if you're doing integration, or if you have a portal solution which is kind of making use of your dynamic CRM. Okay, so these are the typical activities you do, and generally many times in probably not so expert environment, or not so, I'll say, where people don't invest time on such kind of deployment activity, people do this kind of task manually. But other places, people go for fully automated deployment, or using some kind of solution packaging or installer solutions, or sometimes people go for semi-automatic, where a few things they manually do and few things they automate using installers or some kind of build script or tool like that. Now these activities, Dynamics CRM has come with a tool called PackageDeployer, which can be used to actually configure and automate these activities from a single place. So instead of doing each of these activities and tasks manually one by one. Actually, you can configure these tasks inside deployment packager, and then you run it, and it will simply follow your instructions or your configuration step by step to perform the deployment. So it's a kind of, I will say, it's automated deployment, not exactly like installer packages, but yeah, very much similar to that. It's not a single MSI or setup.exe kind of solution, but it has a folder. But inside the folder, when you run a tool, when you run the package deployer tool, it simply reads through your configuration and make use of relevant files to do the deployment. Okay, it will make a lot of sense to you once I show you a demo and talk more about it. So how essentially package deployer helps here is that whatever these activities you have to do as a part of your deployment, you can configure these activities inside a package deployer. You can sequence the activities that this will happen first, then the second, and the third. Okay, and this you can do using Visual Studio project template. So you can create a just like any other development activity, you can go and create a Visual Studio project template. Inside that, you get a well-defined structure to go and configure your deployment activities, sequence them, and then put logic around it. Okay, and once you do that, you build it. What happens then? Then you can run this package, this package which you build using Visual Studio. You can run this package using this package deployer tool, and then the tool simply uses the configuration or instructions you put inside package to do your job, to do the actual deployment. Okay, so definitely it's not like manual thing. You run a tool, and then tool will automatically deploy things for you. But it is not also like installer package where it's a self-contained exe. It's not a self-contained exe that you run it and then it will it will expand and it will export and then do the job in itself. You run a tool for deployment, then the tool needs certain folder structure and certain DLLs to be in place to read these instructions, make use of resources file, and get the job done. So you'll understand what I'm talking about very soon when you see the demo. So it's in between. It's not manual, definitely it's automated, but it's not exactly like your MSI or setup packages. It's in between both. Okay, so let's move next. So how exactly it works? So if you talk about simple steps, how it works, you start with creating a deployer package inside Visual Studio using a given template. Then you build the package. When you build the package, it will spit out something into your bin debug folder. Then you copy that package in the package deployer folder, the place where your tool is running, where your tool is residing, and then you run the package deployer, and then package deployer will read your package information and will do deployment for you. So it's pretty simple and straightforward actually. Okay, so before again I go into demo, it has certain prerequisite in place, and towards the end of the slide, you need to have certain prerequisite in order to run this package deployer, and I'm going to discuss that. In fact, not exactly discuss, I will show you a resource file, a web link. You go through it and you will come to know what exact prerequisite you know. But in summary, what you need is you need .NET 4.0 on the machine. You need to have SDK for the Dynamics CRM, for Dynamics CRM 2013, and you also need a template, Visual Studio templates installed or deployed on your machines. Once you have all three things there, you are good to go and run this package and work around it. Okay, so the demo scenario which I want to run today to take one sample from each of the typical activity I talked about, so that you get to know the complete picture around it. So I'm going to import two solutions, 1 and 2, in that order. So first one will be deployed, then two will be deployed in case solution have dependency on each other. Then I have created a configuration key as a part of my it's already, I'm assuming that my target system already have a configuration key kind of thing, and in that case all I want is that I want to move some configuration data into it, some configuration value into it. So this configuration data, what I have done is that I'm actually I'm using a configuration migration tool, using and I will talk about this tool, configuration migration tool, very soon in another session. This tool also came in Dynamics CRM 2013, and this tool is used to migrate this kind of configuration data from one environment to another environment. So what I did here in this case is that I have exported the configuration from my test environment or acceptance test environment, and now I want to move that to production. Okay, so I will go and import that configuration data. Then I will import some data for the contact entity, out of box contact entity. I will go and migrate some data for that. Then I will also just to show you that you can write code to do things outside Dynamics CRM. You can go and create a SQL Server. I'm going to create a SQL Server database, a simple just database, nothing else on that. Okay, so this is what I'm planning to do in my demo. So let's go to demo part of it. Okay, so to do so, first I want to show you my environment. So what I'm doing here is that you can see here in my out-of-box CRM environment, I have no solution imported. So once I run this package, you should see that there are two solutions which are imported. Now I also show you the configuration key. Right now it is blank. That means there is no data inside this. So once I run the tool, some base data should go and get pulled inside this. So that's the second thing which I talked about. Similarly, I have contact data migrated to be migrated. Then if you come to the SQL Server, I have a local SQL Express running on my machine. So you can see from databases there is no database over here. So it's also, so everything is clean, and so first we'll go and see that how the package has been created, and then we'll run this package, and then we'll see how it changes. Okay, so first thing first, so how do you create the package? So once you have a Visual Studio project template deployed or installed on your machine, what you can do is that you can go say File, New, Project, and then you go to this CRM SDK template, and then you select the CRM package. Okay, you select that, and you create say OK. It will go and create a project package template for package project for you. Now I'm not going to create it from the scratch because it needs certain data to be certain things to be configured. So I thought I will show you how you go and create the package, and then I'll show you one of the pre-configured package. Okay, but I'll walk you through exactly what I'm doing, so you will come to know what exactly I'm doing. So I'll cancel it. I'll close it. In fact, I don't need it. Now I go back to the second solution which I have configured. So this is my CRM package which I created using the same template. Now if I expand it, the most important folder in this is called the package folder. Okay. Now in this package folder, if you expand it, when you create a fresh or empty template, what you see is only two folders. You see this content folder, and you see this import configuration XML. So I will come and talk about it in detail later. Okay, but keep in mind only content and import config XML is present out of box. In the empty solution. Now first thing you do is that whatever, like, remember the activity I talked about, that will import the solution, will import an XML file for the contact, and will also import the configuration file from my other environment. First thing you do is that you include those things into this package folder. So you can see I have included test solution 1 and 2 into this. Actually both create one entry in this case. I have kept it simple to make my execution time small. Then I have my contact XML, which is nothing but which imports two contacts inside my contact entity. Then what I've done is that I have put one configuration key data, which is actually using configuration management tool, configuration migration tool. This zip file has been created, which essentially again migrates some records from my source, from my other environment to this environment where I run it for this configuration key entity. Okay. Now these things I include, and then one basic thing which you do is that for all these files you say copy to output directory, always copy. So you want to make sure that these files are always copied to the output directory. So this is very important to make sure that these things are copied into the bin folder when I build the solution. So that's the first thing you do. Okay. What next you do? What next you do is that you go to this import config.xml. So this is the I will say second important file to be configured. Okay, once you have imported all the assets inside this package folder, like I have done here, you go and modify this XML file. So when you modify the XML file, first thing I said that we'll go and import the two solutions. So what I did for that, if you see the structure over here, this is the structure of the config file. Again, I will not go in every detail because that will be too much for this session, but some base things I will talk about. So first is solutions section. In the solution section, what you do is that you put your solution files one by one under this config solution file tag, and you have to put file in the order in which you want to import it. So first you want to import 1, then 2, then you put in that order. That is very important. If some solution has some sequencing between each other, that has to be configured over here. Then comes your next part where I can go and file imports. Now file imports can happen in many ways. So for instance, I can go and import a file using some kind of CSV or XML. In that case, you can go and import file using this config import file thing. But file can also be imported using the zip. In that case, you configure that inside the zip. Okay. Now, in this case, in my example, I'm showing you that how to import the contact file. So you can see my contact.xml is already over here. I said, okay, import my contact.xml. It's the XML type. There's no map associated with this, but this is for the contact entity. I've simply exported and then importing it, guys, after changing the names. Enable duplicate detection or not. No, there's no data or field delimiter because it's XML file, but in case of CSV, this will be important to configure. Then the first row is header. Yeah, of course, yes, true. Then record dynamic stream is false, and then owner user, and then wait for import to complete is true. So you put these kind of things, this kind of configuration. So I'm not explaining each of the fields over here because later I have a slide where I will give you a link. That links talks about each and every attribute and what you can configure that to have some kind of effect on the overall processing. So here I want to sell the concept of this package deployer and how to use it. After that, what I do is that I simply go to next. What I can do that I can go and import some kind of map files as well. So in this case, I'm not importing any map file. So what I'm doing, simply importing the solution file, importing my contacts file. Now the third file, which I said that is the moving my configuration data, configuration key data.zip file, that you have to configure over here. So if you have any CRM migration data import file, that you configure over here. So this is the file which I created using configuration migration tool. Okay, so you configure your import config.xml file like this, and then this actually file tells the package deployer that in what sequence the deployment has to take place. So this is your instruction to run the deployment. Okay, once you're done with that, what you can do that you can it's a very optional thing, but what you can do that under the content you have some language folders, and here you can define the welcome HTML and end HTML. So when the package deployer runs, it shows you a welcome HTML page. Here you can go and draft your HTML page for the welcome, so that page will be shown in the beginning, and then end HTML is where the page will show, but when the deployment is successful, it will show you the end HTML page. So each of these folders you see have CSS, HTML and image file where you can add your styles and images and HTML. HTML have their respective HTML. So what I have done here, for instance, in welcome HTML, I have simply said that, you know what, this is a package deployer demonstration, and you're going to see demo and best of luck. Simple. I simply customize it, but this is HTML. You can do and add anything you want into it. Similarly, I have default HTML for end page, and end page says, okay, fine, my package has been successfully deployed and this is the end of demonstration. So I simply customize it, demonstrator. Okay, let me correct it. Hopefully this was right. Yeah. Okay. So these are the two HTML files which you can configure to show the start page and end page. Now this folder EN US is important. That means it's English US. So this is the language folder. So if you want to have, say, for Japanese or Spanish or any other language, you need to create another folder for that language, and then put the same kind of structure inside it in terms of end HTML and welcome HTML and CSS HTML and image folders to write a page specific to that language. Okay, so that's how you can have a language specific page. So when you run this tool, depending on the culture of your machine, the language culture on your machine, that particular language page is picked up from by the package deployer. Okay, so that's the second thing, not so important, but yeah, it's a good to have kind of thing. Then the third important thing is that, remember I talked about that when you're doing a CRM deployment, sometimes you do things beyond CRM, right? Beyond data import, beyond solution import. You want to write some custom code to do that. Create a database or call some web service to do some kind of thing into it. Those things you have to write inside custom code. To support custom code, it comes with another important CSS file called package template. And if you expand it, it already has a structure in place where you can go and configure different kind of business logic. So for instance, before import stage runs when the import has not started. Initialize is when the package is initialized. After primary import is when the import is complete. The primary import is complete. So these are different, I will say, events over here, which are handlers, which you have to override, which you have to provide logic to run any specific information, any specific custom code. Other than that, you have some properties also where you can go and set the package name and etc. So again, not very important, but yeah, good to know. But what I'm going to do over here, just to show you that how you can do things outside CRM, that in this after primary import, I have written a very small business logic which creates a database outside CRM. Okay, but you can do anything. You can call a web service here, create a database, and then create a follow-up activities into that. I have put down my SQL statement in a string over here, but you can actually go and run a SQL script altogether. Okay, you can copy it into package folder, and then you can simply read from there and make job work. Okay, so you can do that. But in this case, I'm doing it simple. Simply create a database. From here, you can also call your CRM web services. The same CRM environment where you are deploying, you can go and call that CRM web service as well. so you have to keep that in mind. Okay, but yeah, keep in mind that depending on this, it's after import or before import, the timing will be decided based on which event you have already done. So suppose you want to call a web service to use something which is already deployed in the solution, then you might want to call this thing after primary import, so that that entity set or that object is already created inside Dynamics CRM before you can go and call that using a web service. So those things you do. Okay, having said that, all these things, what you do is that you simply go and compile this solution. So simply go and build this solution. When you see this build is successful over here, you have to go and see the folder. You have to go to this personal package deployer. Then I have this kind of folder structure where I can go and see my CRM package, and then under that I have bin debug. In the bin debug, two files are created actually. If you see over here, I refresh it. First is called your package folder. It has created just now, and the second is this is a folder, and this is nothing but the same folder which we have just created in our solution files. Same folder is copied over here. Now, other than that, we also have a DLL called my CRM package DLL, and this DLL holds the custom logic we have written, custom code we have written inside our package. Okay, so these two things I have to copy from here to here to my package deployer folder. So I have my SDK, and the SDK and the tools, I have something called package deployer folder, where I see this package deployer exe. So I need to go and copy these two things over here. So first let me copy my DLL from here to the package deployer. Okay, and you can see, yes, it's copied over here, and then I copy my folder. So this folder package deployer from here to the okay, so both are copied. Now I'm good to go and run this. This is what it takes to deploy the package. Now what you do actually in your environment, you can simply zip this whole folder and send it to your team that, hey, this is the folder, go run it, and then you simply go and deploy it. Yeah, run the exe and deploy the solution. So let's do it here. So I run this package deployer here. Okay, then I say continue, and then I give location to my organization, my password. Okay, so let's display my available organization, though I have only one organization over here. So it will go and connect to my CRM environment. Okay, so I'm waiting for it to connect to CRM. It's going a little slow, little uninspected, but let's see. Okay, so now comes my first welcome page. Remember the welcome page. This is the welcome page which is shown over here. Then I click next. So what it has done, that since I have a package folder over here, in this copied over here, it simply knows from where I have to go and read the resources and make use of it. So it has read that folder structure and opened this welcome page over here. So we go to the next. It shows some solution package and organization and everything. All these things also you can configure inside this package solution, which I have not shown today, but just for your just to show you, if you go over here in the package and then look at these properties are something which are shown over there. So you can go and change the package folder name, or you can go and change the import name, description of the import name, the import package, long name of the import package. All these things you can go and configure here, and once you configure here, what will happen is that those things will be shown over here. So for now I didn't touch that. So let's go next. Now it is reading my configuration file, my installer.xml file, to check that what are things are there. So you can say, okay, I found two solutions, then I have two solutions, and then I have to import one configuration load, I have to import one file, and then it does not it does not show you what you're writing into custom database, in your custom code. It does not show you there, but everything which is written inside this XML file, it shows you what to do with that, and it verifies that it's able to understand what you're talking about. Then you click next, and when you click next, actually these configuration activities which you have defined into your XML file, it will start executing that one by one. So right now it is like, first thing first, it is importing your test solution one, which you have configured inside the XML file. After that, it should go for test solution 2. Then it will go and import those configuration and data files, and then with that it is done. So it takes a while, okay, and let it do. Meanwhile, let me open the XML file behind the scene to compare that it is in what sequence it is following it. So I keep it here in the background, and then I keep this one here. Hopefully it finishes fast. Okay. All these things you do see over here, it captures everything inside a log file. So keep that in mind. You can go and read the log file to see what all it has done behind the scene to do your job. So generally, I mean, if you're not using this kind of tool, you will do all these imports manually one by one, which is very cumbersome job, lengthy job. But if you have this kind of package configured, you can simply run it and get your job done. Again, you can see that it is not like installer.xml. It's not like setup.exe or MSI where it has a self-content package. No, this package deployer is a tool which you have to run, and then the tool simply makes use of your package folder and your DLL to read the instruction of installation and do it. So let's come back to this again. Hopefully it has, okay, so it has imported solution 1 and solution 2 as per instruction. Now it is publishing. After publishing, it is now importing my contact.xml file, okay, and then it also so it imported my XML file. So like a typical process of parsing, and then parsing of the XML file and then import. Then at this point of time, it started importing my configuration data, and first it does the schema validation, that it does the import of the record, and then it said, okay, it's complete. Okay, so with this, my package has been now completely deployed as per the instructions given. Now I click on next, which shows me the end page, right? The other HTML page I configured. So I simply finish it. After this, let's go and see some verifications. Oops, sorry, I came to wrong place. See, let's see, I should have some entries over here. So you can see here that two keys have been entered. These are two keys which I actually exported from my other system, other environment. Now in the solutions, you can see that there should be some solutions, and you see two solutions has been imported just now. Okay, then if I go to this database over here, if I refresh it, I should see my demo database. So you can see it has followed all my instructions to get my job done. Okay, so this was a demonstration how it can be used. Now let's move ahead. So next thing is, as I mentioned many times, that when you configure the XML file, I mean, it has so many attributes, so many things you can do with that. You should have a good knowledge about how to use it. And there is a nice MSDN article which you can refer, which tells you exactly how to configure such packages and how to make use of each of these configuration element of the XML. Okay, so probably go through it, read through it in detail, and you'll come to know everything. It's very simple to use, and it's very informative. At one place you get everything you need to know about the package. Now, other than that, a few more things I want to talk about. So for instance, if you look at this XML file we just configured in our demo, if you look at these two things, at one place I'm importing configuration data, At other place I'm importing my contact data. Now both are kind of duplicate capabilities for me because both ultimately import data for me. Okay, so in my opinion, in my personal opinion, both can be used interchangeably. I mean, you need not to use a config import file or CRM migration import file. You can use any of them because ultimately they do the same job, which is import data to your CRM solution. But they follow certain restrictions. So for instance, the CRM migration import can only import files which are created using configuration migration tool. Okay, only those files can be imported using the first option. The second option uses the classical data import. So all your zip or CSV or XML files can be imported using the second option. So you know the limitation of these two, exactly how they work, but they essentially do the same job. Now, one word of caution over here is that they should not be considered as substitute to data migration. So you should not say, okay, fine, I will use this kind of tool for my data migration, because data migration sometimes has a very complex environment in terms of multiple entities which have dependency on each other, which resolve certain values with each other. It could be very complex. So this cannot be a substitute for data migration. In my opinion, this should be used primarily to import your basic configuration and seed data, master data kind of thing for your solution. Okay, so that's a one thing I would like to share from my experience point of view. Now, remember we talked about that this package template CS file where we can write our custom code to do various kind of code level deployment or code level automations. Here, if you see that it is, if you have any experience with working with installer packages or installer tools, it is like custom action in installer packages where you can go and write some action to do some kind of automation as a part of the package. But similar to that in nature, because you write custom code to do something as a part of deployment, but it is not as rich as custom action. It is not it's not that much configurable. It's not very powerful. For instance, using custom action in installer package, you can go and restart the IS server, and you can do a reboot of the machine. Now, doing those things probably will not be possible inside a .NET code, or it will be very tough to do. You need some elevated rights to do inside .NET, because ultimately what you can do, what you can use in this package is in this part of the development is .NET. So again, it's like custom action, but .NET not that powerful. Okay. Then so why I said so, because then it should not be considered as a replacement for installer packages. So if you have a very complex environment that where you have to create multiple databases and a script and then some kind of seed data inside that, and then web services and website and configure that, and those kind of very complex environment, application pools and so on, of course you might want to use a professional installer package than using this kind of custom code. Okay, so that's the one recommendation from my side. One good part is that all these packages you create, you can also go and run that from PowerShell command. So you can very much write some kind of automated build script using PowerShell command, which simply reads this package and do job for you. So need not to run it from the PackageDeployer exe or tool only. You can also make it run from PowerShell command. Okay. So that's it from my side. The purpose of this demonstration was to show you that how PackageDeployer tool can be used, how powerful it is. The link I have provided, please go through that link and to get all the details you need to know about PackageDeployer tool, and hope you use it and you get benefit out of it. Thank you very much for watching this video. As always, please keep passing your feedback, your comments, and please let me know how we can make this this channel more useful for you. Thanks again for watching. Bye bye.